The 911 call comes in at 3:40 p.m. The operator hears screaming. Not the kind you hear in movies, real screaming. The kind that makes your blood freeze. A woman's voice, shaking, barely human itself, yells into the phone, "He's killing my friend." There's a pause, then she screams it again. "He's ripping her apart." The operator asks who. The woman sobs. "Travis, my Travis, please God, send someone." He's eating her face. February 16th, 2009. Stamford, Connecticut. A quiet, tree-lined street where neighbors know each other's names and kids ride bikes until dark. This is not the kind of place where nightmares happen. But on this cold Monday afternoon, something unthinkable is unfolding inside a modest home on Rock Rimmen Road. A 200-pound chimpanzee, dressed in clothes, who once sipped wine at the dinner table and flipped through TV channels, is tearing a woman apart with his bare hands. Her name is Charla Nash. And in the next 14 minutes, she will lose her face, her hands, her eyes, and nearly her life. This is not a story about an animal gone wild. This is a story about love, loss, denial, and the moment when a pet becomes a predator. Charla Nash was 55 years old, with short graying hair and a warm smile that put people at ease. She lived a quiet life. She wasn't wealthy. She wasn't famous.
It's so good
She was
to
a daughter,
see you.
a sister, a friend.
This.
She worked hard, paid her bills, and showed up when people needed her. And Sandra Harold needed her. Sandra was 70 years old, a widow, and the owner of a towing company. She had lost her only daughter in a car accident 9 years earlier. Then, in 2004, her husband Jerome died of cancer. Sandra was alone. Alone except for Travis. Travis wasn't just a pet. He was her world, her son, her companion, her reason to get up in the morning. She bathed with him, slept beside him, fed him lobster and steak. He wore clothes, used the toilet, brushed his own teeth. He logged onto the computer, watched baseball games, and knew the route of every ice cream truck in the neighborhood. Locals adored him. He was a celebrity. He had appeared in commercials, in newspapers, on TV. People would stop Sandra on the street just to say hello to Travis. He seemed so human, so harmless, so loved. But Charla knew something others didn't. She had known Travis since he was a baby. She had held him, played with him, watched him grow. And lately, she had noticed changes, small things. The way his eyes would fix on her a little too long. The way his body would tense when she moved too quickly. He was getting older, heavier, stronger. He was 14 years old now, and male chimpanzees at that age are 5 times stronger than a grown man. Their jaws can crush bone. Their hands can tear through flesh like paper. But Sandra didn't see that. She saw her baby, her Travis. Charla loved Sandra. They had been friends for years. So when Sandra called that Monday afternoon, panicked, saying Travis had stolen her car keys and run outside, Charla didn't hesitate. She drove over. She grabbed Travis's favorite toy, a red Tickle Me Elmo doll, the one that giggled when you squeezed it. She thought it would calm him down. She thought she could help. She had no idea she was walking into her own death. Travis the chimpanzee was born on October 21st, 1995, at the Missouri Chimpanzee Sanctuary. He was sold to Jerome and Sandra Harold when he was just 3 days old for $50,000. From the moment they brought him home, they raised him like a human child. He didn't live in a cage. He didn't eat from a bowl on the floor.
On one side,
He sat at the dinner table. He wore jeans and t-shirts. He played with toys. He learned to open doors, use keys, operate the TV remote. He even posed for photos, flashing that wide chimpanzee grin that made people laugh. But chimps are not humans. They are wild animals. In the forests of Africa, chimpanzees live in complex social groups. They hunt, they fight, they kill. Male chimps have been known to tear rival males apart, to cannibalize infants, to wage wars that last for years. They are intelligent, yes, but they are also brutal, violent, unpredictable. And no amount of love, no amount of clothes or toys or human food can erase millions of years of evolution. Travis weighed 200 pounds. His arms were thick as tree branches. His teeth were 2 inches long, sharp as daggers. His hands, those hands that once gently held Sandra's face, could crush a human skull. And deep inside his brain, beneath all the learned behaviors, beneath the tricks and the smiles, lived an animal. A powerful, dangerous animal. And that animal had been showing signs. In 2003, Travis escaped from Sandra's car after someone threw trash at them. He ran through the streets, terrifying drivers, causing chaos. Police were called. It took hours to get him back. Then there were the smaller incidents, the growling, the sudden lunges, the moments when his eyes went dark and cold. Sandra dismissed them. He's just playing, she'd say. He's just tired. He's just upset. But animals don't get upset the way humans do. They don't throw tantrums, they attack. And on February 16th, 2009, Travis attacked. It's a cold afternoon. The sky is gray. Charla pulls into Sandra's driveway and sees Travis outside, pacing near the front door. Sandra is standing on the porch, calling his name, holding his blanket. Travis won't come inside. He's agitated. His body is tense. Charla steps out of her car, holding the Elmo doll, smiling, calling his name softly. Travis, come here, buddy, look what I have. She had recently changed her hairstyle. It was shorter, lighter. Maybe that confused him. Maybe he didn't recognize her. Or maybe in that moment something inside him snapped. Travis charges. Charla barely has time to scream. He hits her like a freight train, knocking her to the ground. His hands are on her face. His teeth sink into her skin. She tries to fight back, but it's useless. He's too strong, too fast, too relentless. He rips, he tears, he pulls. Her screams fill the air, raw and primal, the sound of someone being destroyed. Sandra runs out, screaming his name. Travis, no, stop, please stop. But he doesn't stop. He can't stop, or he won't. And Sandra grabs a shovel and swings it at him. She runs in, grabs a knife and stabs. The blade goes into his back, into his shoulder, and Sandra would later say it felt like stabbing herself, like stabbing her own child. But even that doesn't stop him. He's in a frenzy now, completely gone. Charla is on the ground, her face a mask of blood. Her hands are mangled. Her screams are weaker now, fading. Sandra calls 911. Her voice is broken, hysterical. He's killing her. He's killing my friend. Please, you have to hurry. The operator tries to stay calm, asks questions, but Sandra is screaming, crying, begging. He's eating her. Oh my God, he's eating her face. Minutes pass. They feel like hours. Charla is still alive, still conscious, still feeling every second of it. The pain is beyond comprehension, beyond anything a human should ever endure. And then, finally, sirens. Officer Frank Chiafari arrives first. He steps out of his patrol car and sees Sandra in the driveway, covered in blood, sobbing. She points to the side of the house. He's over there. Please help her. Chiafari moves cautiously, his hand on his gun. He's been a cop for years, seen terrible things, but nothing like this. And then he sees Charla, or what's left of her. She's lying on the ground, barely moving. Her face is gone. Not damaged. Gone. Her nose, her lips, her eyelids ripped away. Her hands are destroyed, one completely severed, the other hanging by threads of skin. Blood is everywhere, pooling beneath her, soaking into the cold earth. Chiafari feels his stomach turn. He radios for backup, for an ambulance, for anyone. And then Travis appears. He steps out from behind the house, still covered in Charla's blood, and walks toward the police car. Chiafari backs up, yelling at him to stay back, but Travis doesn't listen. He's calm now, almost curious. He walks up to the driver's side door and tries to open it. Chiafari sees his eyes, empty, hollow. He raises his gun. He doesn't want to do this. He knows what Travis means to Sandra, but he has no choice. He fires. The first shot hits Travis in the chest. The chimp stumbles but doesn't fall. Chiafari fires again and again. Travis finally retreats, limping back into the house, leaving a trail of blood. He climbs into his cage, the place where he used to sleep, and collapses. By the time backup arrives, Travis is dead, and Charla Nash is barely clinging to life. The paramedics load Charla into the ambulance, working frantically. Her vitals are crashing. She's lost so much blood. They race to Stamford Hospital where a trauma team is waiting. Doctors and nurses rush her into surgery, but when they see her injuries, some of them freeze. They've treated gunshot wounds, stabbings, car accidents. But nothing like this. Her face is unrecognizable. Her jaw is shattered. Her hands are beyond saving. One nurse breaks down crying and has to leave the room. The hospital later offers counseling to every staff member who treated Charla that day. Surgeons work for hours. They stabilize her. They reattach her jaw. They clean the wounds, stitch what they can, cover what they can't. But there's no bringing back what Travis took. Her face is gone. Her hands are gone. Her eyes, though still in their sockets, are destroyed. She will never see again. She will never hold anything again. She will never look in a mirror and recognize herself. News of the attack spreads fast. By the next morning, it's on every channel, every newspaper, every website. Photos of Travis, smiling in his little clothes, are shown next to photos of the crime scene. People are horrified, outraged. How could this happen? How could a pet do this? Experts weigh in, primatologists, animal behaviorists, trauma surgeons. They all say the same thing. Chimpanzees should never be kept as pets. Ever. They are wild animals, no matter how much you love them, no matter how human they seem. Sandra Harold is devastated. She tells reporters she never thought Travis could do this. She loved him. He was her son. But the evidence is undeniable, and the public is angry. Charla's family files a $50 million lawsuit. It's later settled for $4 million. Sandra dies in 2010, her heart broken. Her life destroyed by the same animal she loved more than anything. Charla Nash survives. Against all odds, she survives. She's flown to Ohio, where doctors perform one of the first full-face transplant surgeries in the United States. They give her a new face. Not her face. Someone else's face. A stranger's face. But it's something. It's a chance. The surgery is experimental, risky, but it works. She can smile again. She can eat again. She can speak again, but she will never see again. She will never hold her niece's hand. She will never live a normal life. In November 2009, just 9 months after the attack, Charla appears on the Oprah Winfrey Show. She sits on stage, her new face still healing, her voice strong despite everything. She talks about the attack, about the pain, about the recovery, and she does something incredible. She forgives not Travis, not Sandra, but herself, for surviving, for living when part of her died that day. She becomes an advocate. She speaks out about the dangers of exotic pets. She shares her story over and over, hoping it will save someone else, hoping it will stop another Travis from being created. Because the truth is, this wasn't Travis's fault. Not really. He was a wild animal living in a world he was never meant for. He was loved, yes. But love is not enough. Love cannot change nature. Let's go back to the beginning, to 1995. To a breeding facility in Missouri where Travis was born. His mother was a captive chimp, used for breeding, kept in a cage her entire life. Travis was taken from her when he was 3 days old. He never knew her warmth, never learned how to be a chimpanzee, never lived in the trees, never foraged for food, never played with other chimps. He was raised by humans, taught to be human. But he wasn't human, he never could be. The Harolds loved him. There's no doubt about that. They gave him everything. A home, a family, comfort, security. But they also gave him something dangerous, the illusion that he belonged in their world. They dressed him in human clothes, fed him human food, let him sleep in their bed. He rode in their car. He ate at their table, he used their bathroom. And for years it seemed to work. Travis was happy. The Harolds were happy. Everyone was happy. But happiness built on a lie can't last forever. Jerome Harold died in 2004. Sandra was heartbroken. She clung to Travis even more. He became her entire world, her reason to live. She stopped seeing him as an animal. She saw him as her son, her companion, her soulmate. And Travis, in his own way, seemed to understand. He comforted her, stayed close to her, slept beside her every night. But something was changing inside him. Something primal, something dark. Male chimpanzees go through puberty just like humans. Their hormones surge. Their bodies change. They become aggressive, dominant, territorial. In the wild, young males leave their families and join new groups. They fight for status, they compete for mates. They establish their place in the hierarchy. But Travis had no hierarchy, no group, no way to express his natural instincts. He was trapped in a human world with animal urges he couldn't understand or control. And Sandra didn't see it. Or maybe she didn't want to see it. She loved him too much, needed him too much. So when he started acting strange, she made excuses. When he escaped the car in 2003 and caused chaos in the streets, she blamed the people who threw trash at them. When he lunged at visitors, she said he was just playing. When he showed his teeth and growled, she said he was tired. She gave him medicine, Xanax, anti-anxiety pills meant for humans. She crushed them up and gave them to him in his tea. She thought it would calm him down. She thought it would help. It didn't. On the morning of February 16, 2009, Sandra gave Travis Xanax. She had done it before, many times. But this time, something was different. Travis was agitated, restless. He took Sandra's car keys and went outside. Sandra tried to get him back inside, but he wouldn't listen. He was pacing, growling. His eyes were wild. So she called Charla, her friend, someone Travis knew, someone Travis trusted. Charla arrived at 3:40 p.m. She got out of her car holding the Tickle Me Elmo doll. She smiled at Travis, called his name, walked toward him, and then everything changed. The attack lasted 14 minutes. 14 minutes of pure, unimaginable horror. Charla tried to fight back. She punched, she kicked, she screamed, but it was useless. Travis was too strong, too fast, too determined. He went for her face first. His teeth sank into her cheeks, her forehead, her jaw. He ripped away her nose, tore off her lips, pulled out her eyes. He didn't stop. He couldn't stop. He was in a frenzy, driven by something deep and primal and unstoppable. Sandra watched it happen. She screamed. She hit him with a shovel. She stabbed him with a knife. She begged him to stop. But he didn't even look at her. He was focused on Charla, destroying her, obliterating her. He moved to her hands. He bit down and ripped one completely off. The other he mangled beyond recognition. Blood sprayed across the driveway, pooled on the ground, soaked into Charla's clothes. She was still conscious, still feeling everything, still aware that she was dying. Sandra ran inside and called 911. The recording is public. You can hear the terror in her voice, the desperation, the disbelief. "He's killing my friend. Please, God, send someone now." The operator asks questions, trying to stay calm, but Sandra is sobbing, screaming, losing her mind. "He's eating her face. Oh my God, he's eating her." In the background, faintly, you can hear Charla. Her screams, weak, fading, the sound of a life slipping away. The police arrived 6 minutes later. 6 minutes that felt like 6 hours. Officer Frank Chiafari stepped out of his car and immediately knew this was the worst call of his career. He saw Sandra, covered in blood, hysterical. He saw Charla on the ground, unrecognizable, barely moving. And then he saw Travis, calm, walking toward him, covered in blood, looking at him with empty eyes. Chiafari yelled at him to stop. Travis didn't stop. He walked up to the patrol car and tried to open the door. Chiafari could see his teeth, his hands, the blood dripping from his mouth. He didn't want to shoot. He loved animals. He'd never killed anything before. But he had no choice. He aimed. He fired. Travis stumbled. Chiafari fired again and again. Travis finally retreated, limping back into the house, leaving a trail of blood behind him. He climbed into his cage and collapsed. He died there, alone, in the place where he used to feel safe. Charla was rushed to Stamford Hospital. The trauma team had been warned. They thought they were ready. They weren't. When they saw her, some of them gasped. Others turned away. One nurse vomited. Another broke down crying. The lead surgeon later said it was the worst injury he'd ever seen in 30 years of medicine. Charla's face was completely gone. Her jaw was shattered. Her hands were destroyed. Her eyes were ruptured. She had lost more than half her blood. Her heart rate was dropping. She was dying. But the surgeons didn't give up. They worked for hours. They stabilized her, cleaned her wounds, reattached her jaw, covered the exposed bone and tissue with temporary grafts. They saved her life, but they couldn't give her back what she'd lost: her face, her hands, her sight, her future. Charla woke up in the ICU days later. She couldn't see, couldn't speak, couldn't move her hands. She didn't know where she was, didn't remember what happened. And then, slowly, the memories came back. The driveway, the Elmo doll, Travis charging at her, the pain, the terror, the feeling of her face being ripped away. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. She tried to reach for her face, but her hands were gone. The doctors told her family the truth. Charla would never see again, never hold anything again, never look normal again. She would need dozens of surgeries, years of therapy, a lifetime of medical care. And even then, she would never be the same. She would never be Charla Nash again. But Charla refused to give up. She endured surgery after surgery. She learned to live without sight, without hands, without the face she'd known for 55 years. And in November 2009, just 9 months after the attack, she did something extraordinary. She appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show. She sat on stage in front of millions of people and told her story. She showed her new face, the one doctors had transplanted from a deceased donor. It wasn't her face. It would never be her face. But it was a face. And that was something. Oprah asked her how she found the strength to keep going. Charla's answer was simple. Because I'm still here, and as long as I'm here, I have a purpose. That purpose became clear. She would make sure no one else ever went through what she went through. She would fight to ban exotic pets. She would share her story, no matter how painful, no matter how hard, because if it saved even one life, it would be worth it. The attack on Charla Nash changed laws. It sparked debates. It made people question everything they thought they knew about animals and love and safety. Connecticut had a law limiting primates to 50 pounds, but Travis was exempted because the Heralds had owned him for so long. That loophole closed after the attack, but it was too late for Charla. Federal lawmakers proposed the Captive Primate Safety Act. It would have banned the sale and transport of primates as pets across the country. It passed the House of Representatives. Advocacy groups celebrated. Victims like Charla had hope. But then it went to the Senate, and it died. Lobbyists pushed back. Breeders argued it would hurt their business. And so, even today in many states, you can still buy a chimpanzee. You can still dress it up. Still treat it like a child. Still ignore every warning sign until it's too late. Officer Frank Chiafari never recovered from that day. He had nightmares, flashbacks. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't stop seeing Charla's face, or what was left of it. He couldn't stop hearing Sandra's screams. He couldn't stop feeling the weight of his gun, the recoil, the sound of the shots. He loved animals. Shooting Travis broke something inside him. He developed PTSD. He needed therapy, medication, support. And because of him, Connecticut passed a law requiring mental health coverage for officers forced to kill animals. It was a small victory, but it mattered. Sandra Harold lived for one more year. She gave interviews, defended Travis, said he was a good boy who had a bad day. But deep down, she knew the truth. She had ignored the warnings, dismissed the signs, loved Travis so much that she couldn't see the danger. And it cost her friend everything. Sandra died in 2010. Some say she died of a broken heart. Others say she died of guilt. Maybe it was both. Charla Nash is still alive today. She lives with her brother in Massachusetts. She's undergone more than 20 surgeries. Her body rejected the transplanted hands and they had to be removed. But she keeps going. She wakes up every morning in total darkness. She eats meals she can't see. She listens to audiobooks. She talks to visitors. She shares her story with reporters, with students, with lawmakers. She refuses to let Travis define her. She refuses to be a victim. But the scars remain, not just on her body, on her soul. She will never see a sunset again, never see her family's faces, never hold a child's hand, never feel the wind on her face without remembering the day it was taken from her. She lives in a world of darkness and memory, and yet she survives. She endures. She inspires. Because Charla Nash is more than a victim. She's a survivor, a fighter, a voice for the voiceless. And her message is clear. Wild animals are not pets. Love is not enough. And no matter how human they seem, no matter how much you care for them, they are still wild, still dangerous, still capable of unimaginable violence. The 911 call is still online. You can listen to it. Sandra's voice, shattered and desperate. The operator, calm and professional. And in the background, faintly, you can hear it. Charla's screams, the sound of a life being torn apart. It's a sound that should haunt us. A sound that should remind us that some lines should never be crossed, that some animals should never be kept, that some love, no matter how deep, is not enough. Travis was not a monster. He was an animal, a chimpanzee, powerful, intelligent, and wild. And Sandra was not evil. She was a grieving woman who loved too much. But together, they created a tragedy, a preventable tragedy. And Charla Nash paid the price. So remember her name, remember her face. Remember what happened on that cold February day in Stamford, Connecticut. And remember that the next time someone tells you they have a pet chimpanzee, a pet tiger, a pet bear, remember that wild animals belong in the wild, not in our homes, not in our beds, not in our lives, because love cannot tame nature. And when nature strikes back, it strikes without mercy.